again, my little yarnivores and spiderettes. Fiber Spider back again with another tutorial just for you. Today we have got ourselves a filet pattern based on a quilting pattern that some of you may be familiar with. This is the log cabin filet blanket. Very, very pleased with the results. Check it out. Absolutely love how this looks. And before we go any further, I want to give a big thank you to the testers that helped me with this pattern to make sure that it was nice and perfect for all of you guys. So to my testers, thank you very, very much. And you helped make this possible. I really appreciate it. And for those of you that are interested, the written pattern is available on my Etsy store. Link will be in the description box down below, along with all the timestamps, but of course. All right, so now for the details. For this particular blanket, I used Bernat Baby Sport. By the way, this video is not sponsored, but I always like to let you know what it is that I use in case if you want to duplicate the results. This yarn is a weight of 3. It is 100% acrylic, and it is about 1,077 yards. And for the hook size, I used a 5mm size H crochet hook. You can, of course, use whatever works best for you. The only thing that I would strongly recommend is use a solid color of yarn, especially with filet work. You want the pattern to do the talking, not the yarn. And also, I'm going to give you the repeat for making this project as wide or as narrow as you want to. So whether it's a scarf, a wrap, baby blanket, or a queen size, you can totally do that with this pattern. So let's get into the chain setup. All right, so now for the base chain. Now, as far as the base chain is concerned, it is a multiple of 30 chains plus an additional 5 chains. So I have here a total of 65 chains. I've got 2 multiples of 30 plus my additional 5, so I have a total of 65 chains. You can make this as wide or as narrow as you want to, but I always suggest do a swatch first. That way you can determine how many multiples you would need for your finished project, whether it's a scarf, a wrap, baby blanket, queen size, totally up to you. So get your multiple of 30 plus an additional 5, and we'll get started. All right. Okay, row 1. By the way, before I get started, when I did 2 multiples of 30, that means I'm going to have 2 blocks wide for our swatch today. I want to give you a good idea of how the repeat works. And so, hopping right in. There we go. All right. For row 1, it's really, really quite simple. It is a bunch of eyelets, more or less. So into the 5th chain from the hook, double crochet, and that is our first eyelet. Then chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next. And now we've got 2. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, and so on and so forth for the rest of row 1. Just chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next, all the way to the end of row 1. Very, very, very simple. And no, I'm not going to do the entire row on camera. I think you guys understand where I'm going with this. And then at the very, very end of the row, after chaining 1, you should be double crocheting your last double crochet into the last chain. And if you miscounted, well, I would strongly suggest double checking, because it's good to nip this in the bud early on. Counting, especially for a filet pattern, very, very important. But once you get going, there's nothing to it. So I'm going to do the rest of this row off camera, and I will see you in a bit. Okay, row 2. So we already have our base foundation of all of our eyelets. Row 2, I'm going to start by chaining up 3, and that's going to count as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. So chaining up 3, and then going to do a series of 5 double crochets. So we're going to skip this first space right here and into this stitch. Going to do 5 double crochets. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, then chain 1, skip a stitch, and into the next stitch, double crochet. And then another 22 more double crochets for a total of 23 doubles. And we've got quite a bit of solid work going on initially, but it'll be a little bit lacier as we get closer to the center of our squares. So just going to do my total of 23. So I already have 2, 4, 6, okay. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and this should be 23. But you know me, I'm going to double count because that's how I roll. Like I said, the counting is very important, especially with fillet work. So we have our 5, then I should have 23. So I've got 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, 23. Perfect. Okay. And then chain 1, skip a stitch, and double into the next. So this is actually 1 block in width right here. And because I did 2 multiples of 30, we're going to do another block together. So, because our blocks are separated by a chain 1 space, an eyelet. So I already have 1. I need 4 more for a total of 5, just like how we began. So I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is 5, correct? Yes, okay. Then we need another eyelet, so chain 1, skip a stitch, double crochet into the next. There we go. And another 22 stitches for a total of 23. So that's 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, and 23. And then at the very, very end, we need another eyelet. So to do that, chain 1, skip a stitch, and double crochet into the next stitch. In this case, it's the chain at the very end. Now, how I like to do it is, so I've got this one chain right here, going into the next one over, and double crochet into there. It can be a little bit fiddly, but one does get used to it. And double crochet. You want to maintain that chain 1 space for your eyelets there, all right? And that, my dears, is the end of row 2. So in essence, it is eyelet 5, eyelet 23, eyelet 5, eyelet 23, eyelet. There you go. All right, onwards to row 3. Okay, row 3. Row 3 is actually going to be really simple because we're essentially doing the exact same thing that we did in the last row, but in reverse. You'll understand. So start off by chaining up 3. Every row begins the same. So chain up 3, turn the work, and skipping that first stitch there, going into the next with a double crochet, and 22 more for a total of 23. Basically, we are creating eyelets over the eyelets and doubles over the doubles. So this row, kind of a no-brainer. You know, it's a sort of an autopilot row, if you will. And we're just going to zoom right across because, well, hey, I did the counting in the last row. This row, I get to say hello to all of you. And hope that all of you are doing well and excited to see how this pattern turns out. And that you're having a nice, relaxing little chat with me. There we go. And of course, our obligatory tangle. It happens. All right. There we go. And so, you know, just keep going until you hit an eyelet. And yeah, if my if my counting was correct on the previous row, I shouldn't have to worry. But of course, I worry. Some people, they err on the side of caution. I err on the side of paranoia. It's just how I roll. But I would much rather find out that I'm making a mistake early than late. It's just how I am. Okay, see, we're almost there. And yes, I am going to double count because I have to. I wouldn't call it OCD per se. All right, so 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 23. Awesome sauce. All right, so from here, Come on. Thank you. All right, from here, after doing your 23, chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the next 5. And that is going to be 1 block's worth. All right, we got 3 and 4 and 5. Perfect. Okay, bit more yarn. All right, and then chain 1, skip a stitch, and double into the next 23 stitches. Once again, into the breach, my dear friends. And yet, once you get into the groove with the pattern and how it looks, and sort of reading the stitching from previous rows, really becomes quite simple. But you know, the first block, you really need to pay attention. After that, not so much, because you can look back at your work for reference. But we'll get there. We'll get there. Patience is a virtue, right? It's a shame I have no patience. All right, and we are almost there. We're getting there. Okie doke, couple more. Two more. There we are. Okay, because this is a large number of stitches, yeah, I'm going to double count. All right, so we have 2, 4, 6, 8. Who do we appreciate? 10, 12, 14, 16, 18, 20, and 23. Awesome. All right, so then we should have 5 more doubles to do after we create another chain space. So chain 1, skip a stitch, and do 5 doubles. Okay, that's 3. 4 and 5. Then, as per usual, at the very end, we need another eyelet. So chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the second chain from the bottom or the second chain from the top. Either or, it's the middle chain. There we go, right in there, and double. Ta-da! All right, so quick recap. Eyelet 23, eyelet 5, eyelet 23, eyelet 5, eyelet. All right, onwards to row 4. Okay, row 4. All right, so start off again by chaining up 3. 1, 2, and 3. Turn. Okay, skipping that first chain, create an eyelet at the edge as per usual. So double crochet into that second stitch. Okay, and then going to do 4 more stitches for a total of 5. So we're maintaining this block here. So we already have the 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, and then we're going to need a total of 10 eyelets. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, And we're going to do that a total of 10 times. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. And so on and so forth until we have a total of 10 eyelets. Okay, how many do I have? All right, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 8. 9, and this should be 10. I am presuming. I'm not assuming, I'm presuming. All right, I have, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 10. Perfect. Okay, so then from here, going to do another 4 more double crochets for a total of 5. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. And once I do another eyelet at the end, this is 1 block wide right here. So to continue on, going to start in on the next block. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Then we need our 10 eyelets. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. Chain 1, skip 1, double. 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 And so forth until we have a total of 10 eyelets. Okay, how many do we have? Bubblegum in a dish. How many pieces do I wish? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Okay, I need 3 more. 1, 2, and we should be hunky-dory. Let's see. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Perfect. Okay. Then from here, I need another 4 more doubles so that we have our 5. Okay, that's a total of 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the last, which is the top of that double crochet, that chain 2. There we are. Okay, as per usual, quick recap. All right, so we always begin and end with an eyelet. So it's eyelet, 5, 10 eyelets, 5, eyelet, 5, 10 eyelets, 5, eyelet. There you go. All right, onwards to row 5. Okay, row 5. As per usual, start off by chaining up 3 to create our first eyelet. Turn and double into the second stitch. So we have our first eyelet going on. There we are. All right, so for row 5, we need to start with a total of 5 doubles. So we already have 1. We need 4 more. That's 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we are. All right, from here, chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the next 11 stitches. So skipping this space and then going to the next. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. Yep, gonna double count. So 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Awesome. All right, so from here, after doing our 11, chain 1, skip a stitch, and double crochet into the next 5 stitches. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Then chain 1, skip a stitch, and do another 5. So chain 1, skip that stitch, another 5 doubles. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Great. Okay. So this is the width of one block right here. We're going to do another one together. So it's 5, 11, 5, 5. All right. So for the second block, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Okay, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 11 stitches. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and 11. 2, 4, 6, 8, 11. Perfect. Okay. Then chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. It's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Okay, it's 2, 3, 4, and almost. Get caught on the plies sometimes. It happens. But I really do like this yarn. It is really soft. All right, so we did our last 5. So at the end, eyelet, so chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the last double, which is the top of that second chain there. And there you go. All right, so recap. Eyelet, 5, 11, eyelet, 5, eyelet, 5. Eyelet, 5, eyelet, 11, eyelet, 5, eyelet, 5, eyelet. Or to make things a little bit simpler, easier, I'll just skip the eyelets. So it's just groupings of doubles. It might make it a little bit easier. 5, 11, 5, 5. 5, 11, 5, 5. How about that? All right, so onwards to row 6. Okay, row 6. Sort of like what we did before, it's like what I tend to think of as a mirror row, where we are creating eyelets over the eyelets and doubles over the doubles. So again, sort of an autopilot kind of row. Start off by chaining up 3, as per usual. And turn the work. And then into that second stitch, double. We need that eyelet at the end. There we are. And, well, continuing on with what we had been doing in the previous row, so it's going to be a total of 5. 5 doubles. It's nice and easy. So we've got 4 and 5 and I don't know if you can hear it, but a somewhat low flying plane overhead wants to say hello. There we go. All right, so I did my eyelet, my 5, need another eyelet, so chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the next 5 stitches. Okay, it's 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, actually, I'm not satisfied. I missed apply. I like to get things right, There we go. That's better. All right, so I've got my 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the next 11. And I don't know if any of you guys are interested, but I have been working on some other filet patterns as well as of late. Got kind of hooked on them, but yeah, I don't know. I really like how these work up, and they are very, very, very versatile, and you can do a lot with filet. I've just been experimenting with different patterns and ideas and things. All right, so I've got my 11 here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 11. Perfect. I like to double count and double check. Paranoia, I told you. So from here, chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the next 5. Okie dokie. And that is the end of one block. So 5, 5, 11, 5. And we're going to do the next block. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, and 4 more for a total of 5. Okay, we got 3, 4, and 5. Okay, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Okay. Chain 1, skip a stitch, and then double into the next 11. Okay, almost there. Okay, and yes, I'm going to double check. 2, 4, 6, 8, 9, 10, 11. Awesome, awesome. All right, and then towards the end here, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Okay, 3, 4, and 5. And at the very end, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the last double, so top of that chain 2 there. Now, I didn't address this before, but a lot of people quite often, for a double crochet, they will chain up 3. Sometimes it works, sometimes I think it looks a little bit unkempt. This is one of those instances. So that's why I do a chaining of 3 to act as a double crochet and a chain 1 space. If you chain 4, well, it's an option, but I just think this looks a lot neater. Personal preference. All right, so that is the end of row 6. So again, recap. So we've got 5, 5, 11, 5, 5, 5, 11, 5. All right, we are getting there. All right, onwards. Okay, row 7. All right, row 7. Well, as per usual, we're going to start in the same fashion. So chain up 3 and turn. Okay, and then going to start off with 5 doubles. So as always, skipping that first stitch there, going to the next with a double and 4 more for a total of 5. Okay, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. There we are. Okay, then chain 1, skip a stitch, and another 5. So it's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, then we need to introduce a series of eyelets again. This time it's going to be 4 eyelets. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next, one more, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. So we end up with a total of 4 eyelets. Okay, then to finish up the first block, well, we need 2 more groupings of 5. So I already have 1 double here. I need 4 more. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. And that will be 1 block finished. Okay. Yep, almost. Okay, yeah, so this is 1 block wide right here. So we need to do essentially the same thing again. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Okay, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Okay, we've got 3, 4, and 5. Yep, okay. Then we need a series of 4 eyelets. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double in the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double in the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next. There we are. So we have our 4 eyelets right there. And then to finish this up, we need 2 more groupings of 5. So let's do that. I already have the 1, so I need 4 more for this grouping. Okay, that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Okay, then to finish things up, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the last stitch. So it's that second chain from the bottom there. And there you have it. All right, recap. All right, so we have 5, 5, 4 eyelets, 5, 5, 5, 5, 4 eyelets, 5, 5. All right. Da-da-da-da. All right, onwards to row 8. Okay, row 8, kind of a treat because it is very, very simple. All right, but first we have to start off our row by chaining up 3, turning the work, and skipping that first stitch there, going to the next with a double. Now, this row, it's going to be a grouping of 5s all the way across. So, it's just a matter of doing 5 doubles, doing a chain space, then another 5 doubles, etc., etc., etc. Very, very simple. So I got my 5 doubles, chain 1, skip a stitch, 5 more doubles. You know, again, sort of a mental vacation, time to go on autopilot and enjoy yourself. You know, obviously, just be sure you have 5 doubles, but other than that, no, it's really simple. So I got my 5, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Just going to do this all the way across here. Okie doke. So got another 5 there, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. There we are. Coming along nicely. Now, I understand perfectly well that it looks kind of like, Craig, what are we doing? Well, we're like not even halfway through. We'll get there. I understand it looks a little bit muddled and weird, but you're not seeing the whole picture just yet, but we're getting there. That's sort of the thing about filet work. It may seem like a hot mess initially, but keep at it and it'll surprise you. The only thing, of course, that you want to be aware of is that your stitches line up, as far as them going in rows and connecting and making right angles and that sort of thing. It does happen. Happens to the best of us. All right, so I've got this grouping of 5. Yes, sir. Chain 1, skip a space. There we go. And continue on with another grouping of 5. And I'm going to let you in on a little secret. Next row, it's the exact same thing. The vacation continues. It's like a 3-day weekend. It'll be the exact same thing as this row. And even easier because you're going to be, doing what I call a mirror row where you're just doing the exact same thing. So you don't even have to count. Just go stitch for stitch and eyelet for eyelet. Okay, one more. There we are. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the next 5. Two more. Okay, so I've got my 5, and at the very end, chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the last double, so second chain from the bottom, and there you go. So yeah, for this row, it's just 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. Very, very simple. All right, so that is the end of row 8. Okay, row 9, I'm going to get you started with, but I'm not going to do the whole thing because it is quite literally the exact same thing, and it's very, very simple. So, as per usual, start off by chaining up 3, turning the work, create an eyelet at the edge by skipping that stitch, and going in with 5 doubles. Like so. And then when you have your 5 doubles, come on, thank you. After you have your 5 doubles, chain 1, skip a stitch, 5 doubles. Just all the way across until you reach the end, and just be sure to end with a chain 1, skip that last chain, and double crochet into the top of the last double to create your edge eyelet. And that's really all there is to it for row 9. Very, very simple. So I'm going to leave you to it. I have every bit of faith and confidence in you. So yeah, just eyelet 5, eyelet 5, eyelet 5, eyelet 5, etc. until you reach the end. And I'll meet back up with you for row 10. Okay, row 10. As per usual, I'm going to start off with a chaining up of 3 and turn, and into that second stitch, double. Better believe it. All right, and then going to need another 4 more for a total of 5. So that's 2, 3, 4, and almost there. 5. Okay, got my 5. Then chain 1, skip a stitch, and we need another 5. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Okay. Then we need a series of 7 spaces. So, eyelets. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double in the next. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double in the next, and so forth until we have a total of 7 eyelets. So right now I already have 4. And this should be 7 if I'm not completely delusional and mistaken. All right, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Perfect. Okay, got my 7. Then from here, need another 5 doubles. I already got the 1. We need 4 more for the total of 5, and that will finish us up for the first block. So that's 2, 3, 4, and 5. All right, so that is the width of the first block. So you can see right here, that is the center square of our log cabin, and the rest will form around it. All right, at any rate, onwards. Okay, so we need our 5 doubles. First, we need that eyelet. So chain 1, skip a stitch, 5 doubles. Okay, that's 2, and 3, and 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, 5 doubles. Okay, that's 3, 4, and 5. Okay. And then from here, we need 7 eyelets. So chain 1, skip a stitch, double in the next. Chain 1, skip 1, double. 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 How many do we have? I have 5. Need 2 more. Chain 1, skip 1, double. Almost had it. Chain 1, skip 1, and double. So yes, I should have 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Awesome. And then we need to finish up with 5 doubles. I already got the 1. So 2, 3, 4, and 5. Chain 1, skip a stitch, double into the top of the last double, that second chain, and Shaboom. There we go. And that is the end of row 10. So recap, 5, 5, 7 spaces, 5, 5, 5, 7 spaces, 5. There we go. And that is the end of row 10. Alrighty, my dears, so that's going to conclude the first part of the Log Cabin Filet Blanket series. At the rate that we're going, I think it's probably going to be about 3 parts. I'm not entirely sure. We'll see what happens. But at any rate, I hope you're enjoying it, and if you are, please give a little thumbs up button down below. You know that I appreciate your appreciation, and let me know what you think in the comments section. Also, again, if you're interested, visit my Etsy store, link in the description box down below if you're interested in getting a copy of this pattern. And a big old thank you to my testers for helping me to, make this pattern what it is. I really appreciate it. Thank you very much. And until next time, you know what to do. I want all of you to stay inspired, stay caffeinated, stay stitching, and please stay safe. Take care of yourselves and each other, and I will see you in my next video. Stay tuned for more. Bye for now.